First off, I want to welcome you all. Before I run my mouth, I thought that I should start with a crawl. Walk you right into the venue with this dope-ass guitar. Crafted feelings that are in you while I'm drafting these bars. Take a seat, then a sip, or even pull out your jar of that medicine that's heaven sent and meant to be sparked. And if you like to be sober, you can stay as you are. Only came here to spar from up close or afar. See, I landed with a backpack. I told myself 3 weeks, then it's back to the old. Pack up that knapsack.
Welcome everybody, episode 1, Next on Deck. I'm Earl.
What do I call myself?
You call yourself Sean, Chili, Dogger, whatever?
Yeah, I think it has to be Sean. I'm Sean Ortega. What up?
And in all forms, we will also be known by many people as Coach, Dad, this person, that person. Like, depending on where we know you from, you may know us by different names. But match the face with the voice. And I was telling Sean that the reason I wanted to do this is because I miss talking to people. I miss being in gyms, I miss playing basketball and being able to talk shit with people and actually have debates and hear stupid stuff that people say so I can educate myself on what the hell is going on in the world, because I am 44, will be 45 this year, from Oklahoma, living in California.
Came a long way, huh?
I came a long way and I stayed.
What comparing the two states, it's like what, night and day. But what do we have in common with Oklahoma?
Majority white people. Oklahoma has Native Americans. California has Mexicans. Whenever I first moved out here, that was a culture shock.
California's pretty big. We have Native Americans.
That is another thing. 40 million in California versus maybe 4 million in Oklahoma.
That's what, 4 San Jose's?
Yeah, whole town, 3 towns worth of people up here, or 3 cities.
Nothing, on the way that both people conduct themselves or anything like that, maybe?
No, in Oklahoma, they're very rigid. We think what we think, and when I first moved here, I jokingly said, all the feelings in the world moved to California, apparently.
Gotcha.
Because people would be like, don't you care about this? And I'm like, do you want to take advantage of that? No. So then why do you care? And we actually need that, because between California and Oklahoma, you get a hybrid of Cali-Homa, Oklahoma. And you also get somebody who understands why certain things are, and the need to be a, redneck and hippie.
That little segue.
That was a segue, yeah. So I do music, I coach, I dad, I friend, I live life.
I
friend. In some cases, I'm a best friend, and in some cases, I'm probably the worst friend, but I'll be a friend.
Nice.
The 5 areas I think we said we were going to talk about were work, sports, current events, music, and I believe family.
And whatever comes to our mind, I think, should be on the table as well.
Yeah.
But I am Sean Ortega. I'm a local here in Santa Cruz County since forever. Then I went up to the north, Chico, California. Went to school, came back home, and now I teach here and I coach. And so doing the dad thing as well, doing the friend thing, doing the son thing, doing the husband thing, and trying to give back to my community as best I can. And so that's part of me being, interested in doing something like this is, there's not a lot of platforms, but the internet's a good one to, voice your ideas. I don't know why you would think that my opinion matters, but hopefully after an episode or 2, you can, give me some credit on some of the points of views that I bring up, and we'll go from there.
And I will say that I am a educated, common sense conspiracy theorist with a little bit of reality mixed in there, but mostly reality.
It's mostly reality.
Spiritualist. Anything that can try to make me a better person, I'm probably going to try to do it, because every day is a challenge. I am by no means perfect. Like I said, between the best friend and the worst friend, I'm probably somebody's angel and then I'm an asshole to somebody else. So, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm going to help you if I can. And if I can't help you, I'll try to find a way to get you help.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm going to say this before we move into our first segment, I would rather assist you. Meaning I do a little bit of the work and I give it to you to finish the job, or vice versa. But I would like to assist you. I have learned that some people's help is you do it for them and they take credit. I had to stop doing that because I have overworked myself trying to help people.
I would agree with that. There comes a burnout, and then you like turn at 180 and you just focus on yourself.
Yeah.
I've done the same. That, got me to a point where I consciously think about, well, what is it that you want? In this, discussion, whatever the case is, where you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about maybe a vacation, you're like, whoa, you always do stuff that the girls want. Like, why don't you bring up something that you want to do, and be okay with that, not always trying to please everybody else, but every once in a while, like, hey, I kind of matter. I've been always doing, when you dedicate your life to helping kids, helping everybody else, helping this, it comes to a point where there's a burnout in that. So I can feel that, and I always try to talk myself into being okay with, like, okay, I matter too.
You gotta take care of the caretaker.
Yeah, and then it gives you a boost, and you can go even longer. You can create more of a longevity of
continuing to help people. Okay, on that note, I want to start with sports, and the reason I want to start with sports is because we previously spoke. Where we're at in California, there is no sports whatsoever. I'm watching back home in Oklahoma and multiple other states. We're the kids in the window that are looking down at everybody else playing and understanding why we can't go outside to play with them as everybody else plays. But we were just told today that there is a possibility that there will be a season. When I say there's been no sports, it is January, and there's been no football, cross country, baseball,
Why couldn't
volleyball.
they do cross country?
That
It's like an individual sport. You're running
There you
out
go.
in the,
I said the same
open.
thing about tennis too. Like outside
One-on-one,
of
this
sharing
far,
the ball,
right?
you're not sharing equipment. You're not within 6 feet of. Why couldn't you do cross country? Why couldn't you do golf? And why couldn't you do what were we just talking about?
You can't do anything.
No, I'm saying the ones that you should be able to do.
Oh, golf, tennis, cross country.
You could stagger instead of starting people everybody at once. You could put a minute stagger in between.
Yeah.
It's all time based.
Certain track things should be allowed as well.
Yep.
What's the frustrating part is, the mental health aspect to these kids, and not really acknowledging that. And we're only acknowledging a virus that doesn't really affect younger people. Let's all admit that. I think we should maybe talk about why you would want to create this lockdown.
Yeah, obviously, I'm sorry. The reason we can't do sports is because of COVID. I'm going to say a lot of things that I think, and I will get better as a host. But I will say this. If you know me, and to a certain extent, if you know him, and you know him and I, we're going to talk about subjects that you will have to understand the context of a statement. If we make a random statement, we'll pull it together with that small thread that only we see, or that nobody sees, or thinks that it's dumb to begin with.
Right.
But as we say things, like there's no sports, contextually, I'm hoping you understand that it's because of COVID. Okay.
We want to help. We want to, stop the spread of COVID. But in these sports where there's no, close proximity and you're running and, you can stay away by choice, right?
Not on my team. If you decide to play defense, I'm a basketball coach, or football. If you decide to run away from somebody, then we got to figure that out. Now, I will say that I took an AAU team up to Sacramento, and there was another program that, I'm not going to mention names. There was another program that brought, I believe, 7 teams, and out of their 7 teams, there were 14 or like 16 kids that knowingly had COVID, but apparently didn't tell their coach.
How many?
16. So if you think about it, there's 7 teams, 10 kids on each team. That's 70 kids.
Yeah.
So there was 16. There was like, say, 2 on 2 3 on each team.
17 kids? How many?
I mean, there were 14 that I
14.
know of, and then there was another 2 that said they potentially. So long, I'm saying that to say I risked it, went from Santa Cruz County to Sacramento, and it was about a 2.5-hour trip. After one successful tournament, came back again, watched the tournament, and on the third one, when I brought my seniors out, caught COVID. So positive test, had to isolate, do the quarantine, all that other stuff. So again, we understand why there needs to be protocols in place before you can actually operate and perform a season. And I'm smart enough to know that because high school sports doesn't make people money, they're not going to do it like the bigger schools in college and the NBA or NFL.
You know, something came to mind. And just, you know, we got to acknowledge the fact that with all these safety precautions, I mean, all these like health risks that people, you still went about it. You still cared about the kids enough to do it.
Yes, I am a basketball addict, and as he said, because these kids are in their senior year and they've worked multiple years up to the point of, let me.
We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, let me backtrack and say I coach at I'm the director. I coach at a high school, local high school, and I'm the director of an AAU program. The name of that program is RSF, and it was created for kids that want to play basketball after high school. So for the high school side up, we're trying to get you in tournaments and things that will get you seen by coaches that allows you to get a free education through sports. If you're below high school and you're middle school, then we're just an AAU program trying to prep you. We're a competitive AAU program. Winning is not the main goal. Getting you better and having you understand your role in how to win a game in certain situations and the type of teammates and coach you have, that's the goal of RSF. It is art, sports, music, education, and I'm the part of the education and the sports piece of it. So yes, circling back to Sacramento, I did go up there against my wife's wishes, against a lot of people's wishes, and wanted to get these kids seen by coaches because they worked their butts off to get this opportunity.
And you're not alone. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that have the same mentality. And you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I hope that you don't feel bad about wanting to do that. Like, obviously, everything goes smooth, you don't get it, no one says anything, right? But the fact that you got it, yeah, you could look down upon those types of decisions. But it backs up, like, we need to talk about, you know, how
the mental health.
Yeah, how important it is to have these opportunities available to our kids. I'm sure all 13 to 15, 17, whatever it was, kids that got it were fine now, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't affect these kids as much. What we're doing all these things for, I think, which we need to remind ourselves, is to help what elderly.
You mean all the precautions?
All these precautions, these lockdown, it's like, okay, the elderly can't handle this. It affects them, it just dominates them. It crushes them. It's gonna kill them, right? That's a kind of, you know, the basis of why we're trying to do this. And we want to avoid those situations. But getting a bunch of kids together shouldn't be like something that is looked down upon in the fact that it doesn't really affect them. You know, and if grandma and grandpa are fearful, they should probably make some decisions to keep themselves safe. But because like these kids are, some of these situations are taken away from them, they're going to lack growth. They're going to lack self-esteem. That, you know, we're going to absolutely crush their mental health to the point where, for some, we can't really recover.
Right. I mean, I know I feel like COVID had a lot to do with my son not playing his senior year and not participating in a lot of things, because what used to be a normal routine became, well, I can't go here, I can't, because my wife's pretty strict. I mean, hell, it's your cousin, you know. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of times where we couldn't go, and again, when I caught COVID, I'm saying I ruined Thanksgiving because people weren't allowed to be over. You got the secondhand version of everything. So I think there is a very good piece that needs to be said on the mental aspect of it, because yes, they'll become stagnant. And for for a generation of kids that are already face first into their phone, that was the one time that they could not perform a duty without. I mean, they could perform a duty without their phone. From football, whatever sport you're playing, you can't really have your phone.
Right.
I don't know if, when you coach, do you allow kids to have the earbuds in, the AirPods?
I mean, I coach football. Just they're
That don't mean the motherfucker. Excuse me. That don't mean they're not in there.
No.
Oh, I'm gonna cuss too a lot probably.
No,
so,
it's not gonna happen. Like, no, I don't think you would even. I don't think a kid would even think of doing that with a helmet on and like.
Do me a favor. When you talk to your kids, ask them, because I'm sure there's some that
the kid. I don't know. The kids I coached didn't have enough money for.
Okay, I got you. Because I've had to tell kids, hey, you can't have
maybe some
headphones, and he was like, well, I don't have headphones. They're AirPods. All right, guy. You can't have AirPods. Why? I'm like, can you have earrings? No. Okay, then what makes you think that you can? And that is part of my job as a coach, as a friend, is to make you think about some of the stuff you say. Because nobody likes being treated like they're dumb. But when you say dumb stuff, sometimes you force people to treat you like you're dumb. So that's part of my role as an educator. You're more of an educator than I am because you're a teacher.
I'm an actual educator.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are no dumb questions, Stan. You know that. But what I try to, and I'm a special educator, right? Special needs teacher. You just try to give them additional points and time to process and maybe restate that question after you thought about it a little bit. There's a balance between, push and pull, but, you just try to create an atmosphere where all questions are accepted. But those kids that are not special needs, so some of these kids are a little clueless. And so I think giving a student, a child, whether it's, someone that I work with or a nephew or whatever, we all need reality checks and need to be shown, the real context of how the world works sometimes. And
there's that word again, context.
Yeah,
that's key to me, because I draw a lot of parallels, and I've told you and I've told multiple other people, we are coaching and we are educating the kids who were raised by Jackass the movie.
Great movie.
I'm sure it was. I mean, you're right. It was entertaining as hell. But some of these kids,
no, I got you. Yeah.
Just to be famous, would put a bottle rocket in their ass, light it off, for views, likes, and clicks and fame, as opposed to actually having a meaningful.
No, that's a great analogy. Yeah. The TikTok boom.
Yep.
I'm gonna do this little dance and you're gonna watch it because it's to a song that you probably know, and that's cool.
And it's entertaining.
Sure.
It's entertaining as hell.
Sure.
But can I get some edutainment?
And there are some like that, but see, if you're interested in that edutainment, you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
If you're interested in lollygagging through life, looking at people dance to some random song that you listen on the radio, then that's all your life's going to be fulfilled with. I think going back to what we do as, educating, we need to expose that are different parts of life that you should probably take a dabble in for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. Read up on history. What do you know about your local culture here? The natives, the Ohlonies, right? In Central California. That's a fun day because we have so many different resources with the museum. I'm sure you could just, spend some time research. People don't choose those things. They want to be just kind of, everybody has their different reasons, but, they're trying to escape.
Yeah.
They're trying to escape the reality. And I don't know about you, but I try to do is like, the reality is pretty dope. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in this reality. Now, that's if you turn off the television. That's if you, don't pay attention of what they want you to pay attention to, which I probably just, spoiler alert, kind of make myself. I do not necessarily watch the news. I stay up on what's going on, but I have my own way of going about it.
And I'm going to tie this back in. Watch.
And so, it comes to a point where people need to make that decision, that firm decision that they're not gonna do this, which is what they want. Pay attention to it. You're gonna venture off to things that interest you and surround.
That tie back to that somehow. And I'm saying that because the top. No, we went like we said we would. We went from sports to here. So I'm gonna bring it back. So when you got your history, when you got all the little sub context, and you got all the other little random affiliates, all those things come back to what you're trying to do. So if you play football, don't just look at the highlights. Look at the workouts. Look at all the different little segments that got there and created the moment for the highlight.
I like that.
Do your history. Find out why. I've had kids say, "Hey, coach, we play zones," and the kid said, "I can't stay in the key because I'll get 3 seconds." And I was like, "Hold on, do you really think that you have defensive 3 seconds in the key?" He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's on your game, and that's in the NBA. In high school and college, a guy can sit in there for the entire length of the." Oh, I didn't know that. I need you to know the game you play. So, again, bringing everything back together. Figure out what it is you do as an athlete. Figure out everything that leads up to the moment of what you're being force-fed on the phone. And hopefully, bringing everything back to a circle, hopefully everything comes together this year to where you can have a season at your high school. Now, if you can't have a season at your high school or your middle school, then there's coaches who will have travel ball. You taking a year off?
Yeah.
Okay. Smart, man. There's travel ball, there's club volleyball, club baseball, club this, club that, club soccer.
Yeah.
If you really want to play, you will find areas to play. Soccer's a great.
Why can't kids play soccer?
It's not popular. You don't see highlights of soccer like that.
Yeah.
Who's making $150 million playing soccer?
Yeah, I'm trying to make like 50,000.
But because you're a realist.
Yeah.
You're not here.
Dude, how much million?
There's a meme going around where Shaq's making fun of Rudy Gobert saying you can make $100 million and like score like 8 points and something. And he's like, "You guys think I'm hating, but this is hope for the kids. Like, you don't need to be."
No.
And I will say,
but what are the other ones? How are you going to pay someone that much money? If he doesn't bring anything to the table.
No, he's a defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say
But that's not what.
And how do you become the defensive player of the year?
By having heart.
No.
Why?
Well, I mean, that helps. It's the off season. How hard did you work in the off season? How hard did you prepare? The downtime when no one's watching. What are you doing? What are you doing? What was that story that Kobe, arrived to the gym way before anybody scored
like 4 in the morning?
Yeah, 2,000 buckets before he could do anything else. Something like that, right?
Yep.
And he's an absolute legend.
Now, that is what you should shoot for. But somewhere there's a guy named Colby. I know it's not a Colby I know, but I'm just making a comparison of before you get to that guy, you might need to be who you are and just mimic. The best way to get better is to mimic and evolve. If you can mimic someone's move.
Know who to mimic though, too, right?
Well, it depends. I trick my kids and I ask a question of who's your favorite offensive player. They write it on the board and I have them go do something and then I turn the board around and they think that I'm like ranking them or something. And then I just write on the right-hand side defensive player. And I turn the board around and some of them are like, "I don't have a favorite defensive player." And I'm like, you do realize that on football, there's two sides of, you can't have one without the other. But you're right. You have grown up. You have grown up in an area where you can see, or a time where you can say, all I do is shoot. But you need to be able to pass and dribble. Mm-hmm. All I can do is block. In certain schemes in football, that's good. But you also might need to learn how to pull. Mm-hmm. You might need to learn how to seal. You might be a horrible pass blocker, great run blocker. Mm-hmm. So know your strengths, and in the off season, keep what you have.
Well, we need to
add to it.
Continue to teach these kids how to do those things.
It's not fun.
How to be humble with yourself. Like how do you be real with yourself? To point out, like, you suck at something. I remember.
You can't say that in this generation, though. You know that.
say it then. See what happens.
No, I know what happens.
You know what
I've
I mean?
seen people get fired.
Well, you know.
So this is how I trick them. Hey man, why don't you just make a video?
You don't have to tell a kid you suck. I didn't mean that. I meant like,
but we're in
this is a weakness. We're working on
Hold
this
on.
on a daily basis. We're moving forward.
So we played devil's advocate and angel. Was it devil's advocate and angel's assistant? So right there, another person said, stop saying they have a weak hand. Call it an offhand.
Okay.
So look, see how you're getting annoyed?
Okay.
Every time, there's always that one person that's like, I call it generation participation.
Yeah.
I've told a mother, and this was 7 years ago. I did tell a mother though, so the way you're talking to me right now, you're also gonna say, well, since my son can't dunk, can't we just have everybody not dunk to make it fair? And
you're
no,
lying.
I'm not lying. I swear that lady was like, well, can't you do this? And I'm like, because he's weak in that area? And she's like, well, he's just not good at it. I said, okay, well, because he's not good in that area? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, we could all change everything. We'd probably lose, and it'd make him feel better, but can he work on it to try to meet? Because each year, if you don't...
This is a high school student?
Yes. And what I said...
Imagine your mom coming to your coach.
I can't imagine my mom. Well, because we grew up in a cutthroat. We grew up in an era when you could spear
Dude, I'll be like,
people in
Ma, you
football.
can't be talking to my coach. Like, dude, leave. Because I vent at home doesn't mean I want you to do anything.
No, my
about it.
mom was she told on me. We were partying with the big boys in high school, so to speak.
Yeah.
And she told my coach on us. So I had a different experience with my mom. She was like, you need to talk to them because they're doing this and they're doing that. And yeah.
That's a different relationship. That's like, I'm continue to count
she said
on
I was
me.
trying to get you guys to listen.
I continue to count on my son's coaches to help me raise us.
It didn't work though. We almost beat that dude up. Because in my mind, I was like, my mom ain't never said that. She's lying on my mom. And we started bucking up towards the coach. And we weren't by any means tough or whatever. But that day, it was his second year there. He had come to a pretty prestigious program. I went to Norman High School. Norman High is in Oklahoma.
See, moms, just stay out of it.
Yeah, you gotta stay out of that.
Just stay out of it. Don't get your mom involved, man. Handle your business. He's 16, 17 years old. Like, you're almost a man. Like, if you want anybody to treat you like one, you have to continue to act like one. You have to learn how to act like one. And that's part of the education process, too. And that's why we model kind of how to be ourselves, but also, like...
I tell them learn when and where to be an idiot. I'm never going to ask you to stop being an idiot because I specialize in that sometimes.
You do, yes.
But you also got to know that in this situation, it's probably not going to be appreciated the way that it should be. That's a great joke. It's horribly inappropriate for where we're at, though. But right now, you are 100%. That was funny as hell. But now you're putting me on the spot. And I've done this in the game where one of the kids said something shitty to a referee. And I'm like, you can't. And I turned my back to the referee and I'm like, you can't do that. Yes, it's funny, but you got to learn how to respect the boundaries that you're in. And I said, and right now, it looks like I'm digging all into you. And that referee is happy that I'm digging into you. But all I'm really doing is teaching you, like, learn when and where to be an idiot.
Yeah. Learn when to turn it on, turn it off.
Or learn when while you're getting beat up. If you can't be quiet, some people will hit you in your face to make the area where that noise is coming out of be quiet.
Yeah, everybody has a plan. So they get punched in the mouth.
That's Tyson. Hell, Trey said that one time. I said, why'd you hit him? This was, I think, was in kindergarten. I'm like, why'd you hit the kid? And he was like, he wouldn't be quiet. And when I punched him in the stomach, he stopped talking. And I was like, you're right. Like, but we can't do that, man. Like,
I want this.
Yeah.
I did this. This is what I want. Happened.
Can't do that, though. Okay. So, sports-wise, again.
Oh, yeah.
We might have a COVID season.
We need the kids to play. That's that's what I just want to say. It's like, I commend people like you that went out of their way to risk your health to help the kids out, have a good senior season.
We need to get back to our routine.
How do you go
with safety precautions?
You think about high school, it's like a race, not a race, but it's like you run 4 laps, right?
Yep.
And you get to the end of the 4th lap and you're almost ready.
And they're like, we're not keeping time.
I'm over it.
But you get a medal. Now, for some people, that's cool.
Completion?
Yeah, for some people, that's cool. But for hold on, think about it.
I don't.
I'd say
meet too many people.
90% of a high school athletic program, cross country, whatever.
Sure.
There's only 2 or 3 people that really want to go out after high school. Most of them just want to be a student afterwards and drink or do grown-up stuff in a college setting. There's I would say, what is it, like 10%, 7% of people in high school that want to do sports after that, unless it's one of those high schools where that is what they're known for.
Yeah. I don't know. I played college ball. I tried to, but I took a year off, and then there was nope, you're not done with the sport yet, and I went running back, and absolutely fell in love with it again. So that should, that's available. But yeah, you thinking about percentages, you're probably right.
Because I know a lot of kids that are like, and these are the ones I coach. I don't plan on playing after high school. And as a high school coach, I coach JV, assist on varsity. As a high school coach, hearing that from JV and from the varsity is what prompted me to make RSF as competitive as it is, because there does need to be programs for people that just want to play through the summer. They love the game in high school. They love this and that, and they do want to get better at it. But if by the time they get to their senior year and they don't plan on playing,
I mean, you still don't need any of these leagues to do all that. If you love ball,
you need it for the stats and the video footage. You're right.
That's what I'm missing. I'm probably forgetting
the huddle piece.
The huddle piece. Yeah, you're right.
Because we did good. The little AAU. Last year was our second year. This will be our third year. We went to a tournament in Sacramento, like I said, and there was I'm real proud of this moment. We were playing a team that had a 6'11" guy, and they were nice. Like, they were so nice. They had 2 college coaches, Menlo, Atherton, and Atherton. So I'm sorry, Menlo College, and another college. I hate that I'm blanking on it, but they were there to see 2 or 3 people from the team we were playing, and here we are, a bunch of ragtag kids from Santa Cruz. I mean, we look good, and I have killers, if you will. We spanked them.
Nice.
Like, when I say we spanked them, they thought they were going to run through us. We spanked them. And then those coaches stayed to watch us play again. And we spanked the next team. And we thought we were done, because the way that tournament was, it was 2 games and you might or might not get a championship. And then another team came, and my kids were just like, oh, they were over it. They were overplaying, and we lost. But I'm saying all of that to say, at the end of the day, some of those college coaches were asking about people on the team. So that made me feel better about that whole...
Right. It creates opportunity to be seen. It creates opportunities for them to gain more opportunities in their life.
And that's my job, in my opinion.
I like that. Yeah.
To make that available for the kids that want that. If you don't want that, then I'll play with you, or I'll coach you, or I'll give you any assistance I can. But if you want that extra, I'm supposed to give that to you, because I'm an elder in the tribe. We're training. I'm an elder in the tribe. We're on earth to leave it better than we got it. And kids, if they could, would keep shitting on themselves until they probably felt embarrassed to stop shitting on themselves. But we potty train them before that happens. We teach them how to be functional. And I don't know if you can read the shirt, but it does say, proud parent of some dumbass kids. My daughter got me this. They're not dumb. They're actually they're smart asses. They are not dumbasses.
Which, I think there's a study out there, hopefully someone could find it out there. The people that show a sense of humor, right, and are witty, with their jokes and their sarcasm, probably have higher IQs, intelligence. I don't know if you want to use IQs anymore, but their intelligence is quite high.
And I will say that for this generation now, next generation, they are very adept at picking up on social cues. And it reminds me of those chimpanzee studies when they would show videos and they're like, the chimps can't grasp sad, happy, this video generation, it's a 5-year-old right now that can tell you, oh, this and this and that, just from watching a video and being able to perceive everything that's there. Now, the problem we have as elders in the tribe is when you're watching Photoshop, we knew Tom and Jerry. We knew that Johnny Quest. We knew that Ben 10. We knew that all that shit they did.
What generation?
What
Don't
cartoon? Hold on, what
I'm
cartoon you
younger.
grew up with? I tried to go Tom and Jerry, Johnny Quest, and Ben 10.
Yeah. I was, what was that one? Damn. The moose and the squirrel.
No, that's my
Bullwinkle.
generation. That's super old.
I mean, I used to watch it. What else I used to watch? Cartoons wise, man, it was like Looney Tunes, bro. But
but Looney Tunes had a little smart wit in there. They had some cracks.
I watched the X-Men cartoons, the Fantastic Four on Saturdays.
That's rich people shit right there, man.
What do you mean rich people is on Fox?
I'm talking about regular cartoons.
Regular cartoon? You don't need cable to watch it? Is that what you mean by rich? Like, what do you mean rich? Like, someone makes a cartoon
network.
People watch it. That it makes it seem that they're rich. They're not. I wasn't fucking rich because I got to watch X-Men.
I never heard of X-Men cartoons. I didn't get that.
No,
anyway,
we
but we're going back to being able to pick up on the social cues and all of that. So this generation is a little
behind.
Well, I would say they're
in
equal
aspects,
until they realize that some of the stuff they're watching isn't reality. I was bringing up the cartoons to say that when you and I watched it, we knew that shit wasn't real.
Yeah.
We knew nobody was flying through or crashing through a building with half his legs sticking out of his legs.
The Vine shit, yeah.
So now that they're watching people Photoshop videos of it, they think, oh, I hope that's not real. Like, at least we knew it wasn't there. So it is kind of going backwards. Some people think that when Trey was 2 or 3, no, he was like 3. We went around Safeway parking lot, and I was throwing grapes at the back of people's bumper. Stupid as hell, and I made him do it. And if I brought him out here right now and I asked him about the grapes in Safeway, he was like, yeah, you told me, see how the grape, put the grape back together. You can't. That's your head. I taught him, your head is a grape. Watch what you're doing in these fucking parking lots, or you're gonna get hit. And it ain't like the cartoons. It was a cartoon lesson. The other one I used was, how many kids have you seen get spanked on Disney? Well, don't think that shit's real life. You can't flood the house, have the roof cave through, and then the next swipe scene is, we forgive you. No, we're out. We're probably gonna get sued.
The majority of people growing up probably got a butt whooping, like you have to think about it.
I'm interested. Out of everybody who watches this, if you can, let me know if you got whipped as a kid, spanked. I'm not gonna say disciplined, because going to your room on timeout is discipline. Did you ever get physical abuse? And again, I'm 44, gonna be 45. I remember being in school when they could SWAT, like they had SWATs.
Yeah. I don't remember that. Just to let you know.
No,
who's older.
I got them. And then I think California didn't have corporal punishment in the schools.
No.
Okay. So I'm curious to see how many of y'all out there actually got corporal punishment at home.
Yeah, a little swat on the butt.
Okay, hard segue.
Skirt.
Today is Tuesday.
Okay.
By the time I put this, you know what? I might just put it out tonight.
So what day is it now?
It'll be Wednesday when they watch it, and it'll be what's tomorrow? What big political event is tomorrow?
The inauguration.
The inauguration.
For the most popular president.
Is he?
In the Stan. He got 81 million votes, Stan.
Okay.
He got more votes than Obama. He got more votes, obviously, than Trump. He got more votes than the 2 previous most popular presidents.
Okay.
And probably our generation. 81 million people. Do you buy that 81 million people in the United States voted for Joe Biden?
I buy that's what they told us. I buy that's what they told us, and because that's what they told us, and because we are in adult daycare with our politics.
I certainly need someone to take care of me from cradle to the grave. I really enjoy the government's ability to really, rock me to sleep every night, really take care of me. It's.
I think he has some sarcasm.
Oh, damn it! Spoiler alert. about my intelligence. Huh? See how I did?
Yeah.
No, man, he didn't get 81 million. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I think something's going to happen. I think there's quite a buildup in the last few years. Let's say 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the first 2 years of Trump, it was like, okay, what's he going to do? Right? Eyes on. Didn't do too much. Not too much things to gather. And then the impeachment, and then the Mueller probe, and didn't really find anything, and kind of went. Rrr.
So you're saying that he was hired by a country that did not really want him and tried to usurp?
What? No, I didn't say any of that. I'm saying.
I mean the impeachment. I mean because who? The term is
the first impeachment.
No, I know
he
the
has
first
been
impeachment,
impeached
but the
twice.
term is. I've never heard the term partisanship.
Okay.
I've only heard the term bipartisanship.
Right.
Only because they say nobody wants.
So bi is two.
No, I get
right?
it. But that usually means that we are two are working
Maybe they
together
don't.
for one.
Mhm.
So bipartisanship, two parties working towards a common goal.
Partisan means just one of those two parties.
And that's technically what we are, under the guise of being bipartisan.
right. Well, the first impeachment was all partisan.
Okay.
You did
right.
not have one Republican who voted for. Usually you can convince someone.
Yeah.
Not one. And it was all a Democrat ran impeachment through the House
Mm-hmm.
to the Senate, which the Republicans had the majority. They're like, nah, stop.
Yeah.
You know, staying in office. Other than that, it was the first couple years, right? And then there was this all of a sudden shift, this build up. And it all started with the campaigning. And then obviously in the last year with COVID and everything, it made for this perfect storm, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
on the vote front to create this opportunity, which we all know politicians aren't going to, they're going to take advantage of these opportunities, such as crises. They even admit it. You can Google it. Never waste, I don't know. Rahm Emanuel said that quote. He's like, we never lose an opportunity, to take advantage of crises. I don't know about the exact words, but you can Google and find it.
It's a good thing to capitalize on people's emotions at a particular time to sway towards something.
And that is taught in school. So, I'm a poli-sci
It's taught in
major.
coaching.
It's taught.
Yeah,
right. It's a norm.
Yeah.
Right. And so we can mail in ballots. We can do all this. Trump's like, hey, they're going to cheat. They're going to cheat. No one, nothing really happens. Do I think that the Democrats cheated? Yes. Do I think that we will ever figure out? I'm hopeful, but no.
But what if we do? And I'm gonna bring up the voting machines of Bush.
The 2000 against Gore.
Yeah, like when they said, the voting was like they found out it happened. Nothing happened after that. So that's what I'm saying.
Well,
Even
what
if
was
we
the
find
stink
out,
that from Gore? It was very minuscule, right? It
well,
was
because there's a bigger work.
What do you mean?
There's a bigger force at play.
Right.
That if they want to sway, because Gore's support is nowhere near the passion of Trump's support. Again, coming from Oklahoma, a red state, I don't think it's ever voted blue in any election.
We should talk a little bit about the history of the red, the GOP.
I'm okay. Let's just give him
maybe
a quick.
for another time. Well,
no, let's give him a quick one.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking that most people, if you don't know, you know, that Republicans were originally what black people said were for them until the Democrats came around, had a nice song and dance, and swept them off their feet, and now it's been reversed. So it is true that the parties originally were on opposite sides, and now they've morphed into this by way of mouthpiece.
Yeah. Public sway, public opinion.
Because
the
again,
control of public
you
opinion.
tend to try to bolster support from people that you can win the majority of something with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't want to talk. I just want to mention, like, hey, the history of it is that Republicans was the Lincoln
I
Party.
mean, and hold on. The history of it is that blacks and women couldn't vote.
Until 1920, we didn't have a real democracy. That is
Right.
correct.
So once 1920 came, I don't even think they wanted to do it. I just think they were like, I'm tired of hearing about this. Just do it so they'll shut up.
How many years do you think we had a real democracy where everybody's vote really actually counted?
I would say in the first one. I mean, if I'm being an asshole, I'd say the very first one where we broke away from England.
Yeah.
The country broke away, and we were like, and where each representative was actually like, hey, you go talk to them for us, and you're gonna come back and live with us.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't like what you say, then your family's here. This is here. Like now, it's morphed into being a rock star. So I think the only one that really counted, maybe a second or third one to there, but I would say three total. I would give it that many. Because I don't think they represent the people anymore.
Well,
I think they represent the interest of that state.
I just meant the counting of votes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but originally it wasn't business oriented.
What do you mean? Oh, the donations? What do you mean?
No, just okay. So and maybe I'm wrong. My thought is, as a vote in the first election, we want to be part of this union. We know we are a collective. I know that you're a bigger state than I am. I understand why my vote may not count for as much, but we're in this as a co-op. And yes, we've gotten bigger for business reasons, protection reasons. But I think the bigger we've got, the more it's been about, okay, how do I make sure that I got enough money to continue to be who I am, and not really how are us 13 colonies defending against everything outside of us?
Yeah, tremendous gambles of life. But we go back to the pursuit of happiness. It's like, and this could be tied around, to the government intrusion of these lockdowns. Like when you take away the ability to be free.
But I would even question this: how are they not free? How are we not free outside of the mask mandate? Because the mask mandate really says what? You need a facial covering. It does not say anything about it need to be medically
Here's
approved.
the tyranny. You're saying that certain jobs are more essential than other jobs, but what about the essential, that person's ability to provide food for their family that you're stripping away? You're saying that human being is not essential, meaning you can dictate what is most important in our society, where, I'm a capitalist to a sense.
No, there you go. That's what I was gonna interject and say. You're talking about America, not the U.S. You're talking about the corporation. And as a corporation, we did an analysis, and those are the essential people that we need to make sure this company stays afloat.
There you go. Yeah.
So again, back from the original to what we are now, I think now we just need to make sure we don't, and we're already in the red, we don't need to keep going further in the red. And
what do you mean in the red?
Like we're trillions of dollars in debt.
Oh, shit.
Like who do But how do you operate?
When you want to talk about money policy, like that's a whole episode, man. Like I can tell you exactly who we're in debt to.
No. I'm just saying, how can you exist when you're in debt from a money standpoint? You know that it's, I know it's goods. It's not the paper.
Potential.
It's labor.
Resources
but
at
that's
hand.
That's credit.
Right.
That's drafting on potential as opposed to...
Well, people are like, how did Trump do this? He took loans, made profits from them.
Yeah,
the ones he didn't make profits from, he fucking went bankrupt.
He used the system against himself.
He used the system to... Right, I don't know what you care, like what you think, or like your idea of his intelligence.
Listen, this is pro-Trump. I'm not Trump. To me, it don't matter. As a businessman, that dude is a smart businessman to use.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, to have that dude that's shiesty as a businessman lead the country, he won. I didn't vote for him, but he won. So until he's out, you gotta expect some. But I will say, from a policy standpoint and from money-wise, I think he was doing okay. He wasn't a people person. He was a business person.
He wasn't a mainstream people person.
No, I mean, listen, his bedside, as in negotiation, he's an asshole.
But there's
He's not gonna sweet talk
tremendous
you.
sector of the country that is so ready for that. When they look at a politician, you have to
Hold
admit
on,
we're getting
they think they
scammed.
are.
We're getting scammed by other countries.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? And
I
it
agree
had to
with
be
that.
put to at least addressed.
So you're saying you had to hire a consultant to stop the bleeding and at least get us in a better place. But they don't like the consultant because he's not, work with me on this.
Yeah.
They don't like the consultant because he's not as nice as that person was. He's not as this. We stopped.
People loved being lied to with that
Who doesn't?
presidential, you know, it's
Yeah.
just like, man, look at him. Doesn't he look
That was
good?
my
you know,
argument.
rather than he was like, I'm funding ISIS, you know, it's like,
Well, that was my argument about Bush at least made you laugh as he was, you knew he was lying.
he was a dork, yeah.
He was a dork though. He wasn't, fuck you gonna do?
Mhm.
Like, that's what people, in my opinion, but that's also what they loved about him.
Right.
And maybe the wrong people latched onto him because I'm from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I've seen KKK. I've been to a little town named Medill where me and my friend Steven, we were at Lake Texoma and we stole his mom's car and went driving and we were off in a little field and we saw we kept getting closer and closer and it was a burning cross and his dumb ass yelled, your daughter likes black people, and we're in a Datsun B210 trying to run away. They weren't even thinking about us. But I've seen KKK.
Mm.
So to know that and to see that there's,
Which was founded by the Democrat. Oh, sorry.
yeah, no, it was founded by the Democrats. And I think most people don't understand or know that educational piece. The reason that they wear hoods and robes is because they were supposed to be the ghosts of their dead fathers and grandfathers riding the land from the Civil War.
Mm.
That's their sole purpose. We are the remnants of the Civil War. We are wearing hoods and robes because we are pretending to be the ghosts of Confederate soldiers who were fighting for a particular cause. Most people don't know that.
I don't think I knew that. No.
So
That's
it's not honorable, but I understand why you did it, but why it's happening 15 generations later. Well, not 15.
The majority of people's decision making is based on where they come from.
Yeah.
You know, what they've been taught. And when
Peer
you think
pressure.
about it, when you think about it, it's like, you can't blame anybody from having, real strong convictions in their opinions and what they think.
At least know that's what you've been taught. Don't
Mhm.
think that that's the only thing you can be taught.
But that is hard because there comes to a certain point where you become fully brainwashed.
If you
Especially
never have
when-
to leave your comfort zone, I agree with you.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people are like that, man. A lot of
But
people.
if you go to college, like
think about it, not too many people go to college.
or the Army,
I would like to look up those numbers of like what percentage of the United States Americans,
I
like
wonder,
citizens, go to college.
or the armed forces, because I'm thinking in college you don't have a choice but you're forced upon the melting pot.
Sure.
In the Army, I know in prison you click up. This is my rationale.
That's the survival,
Prison you
right?
click up.
I'm sure there's some people that don't want to.
Well, no, you don't
Just
have a
like-
choice, but that's
yeah,
what I heard.
you don't have a choice.
So there you don't have a choice. In college, you don't really have a choice, but it's the opposite version of it.
Mhm.
You're forced to mingle.
Mhm.
I'm wondering about the armed forces. Like, how is that?
I'm sure there's some clicks.
But is it
everywhere.
as bad as, I wonder if it's a hybrid between the two.
Probably not, because I'm sure if you're a drill sergeant, you're going to be like, I see that these two people aren't getting along. I'm going to put them as partners. They're going to have to fucking get along. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because they have to get over it. As a drill sergeant, you'd be like, dude, all these people rely on me and my guidance to keep them safe, know the basics, how to survive, how to have discipline. And if you don't do a good job of doing that, you have some dead soldiers. And I hope that, there's some good American patriots in our army, and salute to them if you've...
I just wish they understood that being a patriot meant being for the country and not, and realistically, accepting what your company has employed.
Mhm.
If you believe in America, again, America's the corporation. In my opinion, America's a corporation. United States, us, united people. If
Lowercase letters.
Right. If you over here, Mr. Patriot, believe in this, then you can't be mad at who they keep including to make money. Be it black, white, lesbian, transgender, immigrant, whatever. because again, coming from Oklahoma, it's amazing to me to see people saying, this is our land. Black people can't say it's their land unless they were here already through Indians or whatever.
It's not our land, right? You own this land, no one else. This land. The public lands that we have, the BLM, the other, not Black Lives Matter, the Bureau of Land Management, right? That is all public land. That's our land.
Because we're citizens.
Because we're citizens to this, right? But we're private, like we're all about private ownership.
Because we're a capitalist country?
Because we're capitalist.
Yeah, so that's why I don't understand. This is our land.
Socialist.
This is our land.
That's socialist to an extent. When you want to say this is our, it's like, no, not quite. This is our land in the fact when someone's invading it.
Conceptually.
Right? Okay, we got to defend the homeland, which has historical context as well. But no, we're a capitalist country, and I think the market should dictate prices and dictate everything on its own. But what we have in the last 50, 60 years is crony capitalism, where you do the favor, I do a favor, very much of what politics is all about. And so when you have a businessman who doesn't need to do favors in any of that.
But you need money.
Right? You need a sense of how to spend and make.
Or even this, hey, I need jobs. You have a business. What can I do for you that will make you make a company in my state that will employ people and both?
Yeah. Hey, Apple, I know you just went to China. Fuck China. Why don't you come on back to Texas?
Yeah.
We'll give you 0 taxes and give you a couple of years to get on your feet.
And we got our own.
Or whatever,
We got our own power grid, Texas.
And so he was able to bring Apple back to Texas. Elon bailed Cali. That's a lot of jobs, a lot of money flow, right? You create jobs, those people have lives, they spend money.
But it's for sale. That's the point. I hope y'all understand. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that there's our country, by definition of capitalism, by the definition alone, is not for the people. And those people are employees. And if you
sooner or later we have to address the debt.
Right.
And so a businessman who took a mill and took 3,000 million, which is 3 billion, right? He made $1 million into 3 billion. He made 1 million 1,000 times 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Which becomes easier after you can probably make that 50 mil, or whatever, that 100 mil mark.
You start to get you see the
pattern.
Get the
pattern, right? Just like anything. And you elect a guy based knowing you're going to have to address this giant number up over here sooner or later. If we didn't have that and we had a different mode, we probably wouldn't have to elect a dickwad like Trump, right? Someone who speaks like that, which I enjoy. I'm sorry, President.
He's entertaining.
He's entertaining. I didn't mean to call you dickwad, but the perception is that you're a dickwad.
I mean, there's a lot of entertaining dickwads and entertaining assholes, like entertaining.
Who was it? Chappelle was like, no, you're not supposed to say Kung Flu.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, seriously.
He's like, you're not supposed to say that, even though he was.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie, I was amazed.
He's like, no.
But as a country,
leave that for me.
We got to figure out. I don't think we're gonna get along. That is one thing I do want to say. I think we need to respect each other. But I don't think there's one system that can fit anybody, especially when people are as entitled as we are as Americans.
Let's quickly touch on the mayhem that we're all told is going on out there between race relations and, the inners. The majority, 99% of my interactions with people of all races have been genuinely really good interactions around town, people in my community.
But you're talking
I go
in
out
person.
of town in person, shaking hands, making eye contact, having casual conversations. The majority of people's lives out and about are genuinely pretty damn good. And we need to acknowledge that. That's all I'm saying.
Hold on. Here.
But from my perspective.
Yes. And the only reason I say that is because last night I found a video from somebody posted from my senior year that I didn't know existed. And I was watching and I was like, oh shit, there's me. Oh, there's another black person. Like my high school was like Aptos. which is maybe 1% black. Maybe, if that. Like, for those that don't know, Santa Cruz County, I think is 0.8% black. I mean, the minority. Mexicans are the minority. Whites are the majority.
In Santa Cruz County?
Yeah. I'd be willing to bet that. Just by the
Probably closer than
well, I'm not saying that it's not close. I'm just saying if we're gonna rank them in categories.
Yeah, see, you know, and there's something wrong with that too. It's like, fuck.
I mean, but it's where we work.
Right.
And for me, it's where I
in
go
the
to
area,
high school.
it's, you know, a fairly big commercial agriculture.
You have Mexican, you have white, you have probably, I wouldn't be so far to say you probably have more Filipino than you do blacks.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
And that's, I think blacks are what, 13% of the nation?
Is that what it is?
I think it's that. It might be a little bit higher, maybe.
I don't know. Where do I, you know, where's the half breeds? You know, it's not like you're black, Stan.
It
You're
depends,
half white.
but it depends on what
And
we're
I'm
filling
half
out.
Mexican, I'm half white. You know, it's like, are we in both those?
No. I'm in a helicopter view in that situation. I'm watching the blacks fight with the whites up here. And when they want to get there with me, they'll realize that don't stay in the trenches too long. You guys are shooting at yourself. Let's go here.
Yeah.
So what do you, again, we're going to call it the circle back.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen at the inauguration tomorrow after the bullshit that happened last week with the, because that was entertaining as well. It was frustrating because, again,
I watched the whole thing. I thought it was bullshit. I thought some cops let some people in. Out of 1 million people that are there, 200 started. Someone do the math of what percentage 200 out of 1 million is. Okay, so that percentage, you know, crashed the Capitol. What did they do? They went in, did a couple things. They wouldn't back down. Now, here's what I think happened there. I think that there was factions of Antifa. I think there were factions of provocateurs, agent provocateurs. You can look up the history of agent provocateurs and
you're
how
saying
they're
agent, by the way, agent, not
Right.
Asian.
agent provocateurs. FBI, there's a long history. Look it up, enjoy. It's a nice little rabbit hole. I think those types of people were used, and I think that we also need to know the term false flags, using our enemy and what they look like to cast an attack to make it look like, right, your enemy's casting that, so you could use that to their advantage. You can look back on the Lusitania, you can look back on the Gulf of Tonkin, you can look back on what probably the majority of people talk about in 9/11. You can talk about all those types of things and, you know, use it. Whether, I'm not trying to convince you what happened. I'm just saying there's a history of those types of things. So we got agent provocateurs, we got false flags. I think that was what happened at the Capitol, because you want a big lockdown. Now, if I'm going to be Biden and I'm like, I scored 81 million votes, why do I need all this protection? If the majority of the American public, right? Here's what I think. I don't think anybody was planning on showing up. I don't think anyone.
You heard about the
showing
phone
up.
calls, though, right?
I'm thinking that in order to like make it seem like I'm gonna make it seem like I have a big uprising that I have to address.
No.
So I'm gonna put a big
I'll give you that.
lockdown.
Okay.
I don't think anybody really wanted to show up to support this douchebag.
Okay.
Sorry, President Biden.
he-
Don't come after me.
No,
please.
listen, dickwad and douchebag. It's okay as long as we see that there's equality there. I don't think America's mad at anything other than the fact, and this is how sick we are as humans. They're only mad that nobody got shot.
Well, one person did get shot.
Hold on. But if they're, again, look at the riots. People tore up a Target. People got
Can
shot.
we talk about the riots?
Yeah, people got. Why?
Seattle. What did Seattle do?
I'm not versed in Seattle.
They're like as liberal as you can get. And the liberals burnt down the liberal city? This is what I don't get. Why burn down your own city if you're upset with what's going on? How did that fix that? It didn't. It's a distraction. It's a big...
I don't think it's a distraction.
It's a shit show.
That is what I do think it is. I think when you're frustrated and you don't have the coping skills to deal with something, a kid will tear a toy up. This is the adult version of that. I'm going to tear down my own shit to prove to you how fucked up I am. Yes,
Yeah.
I know I'm harming me.
Yeah, my daughter does this sometimes.
So I'm looking at, like, most people are only upset that, and they wish that nobody. Let me say this. I feel like there's people that wish the shit that happened at the Capitol, you should have let us do it. Because if you care more about a Target and you kill motherfuckers for Target or for local businesses, but this thing that we hold true, the Capitol, sacred ground, and you let them do what they did, like pictures, this and that. If you let them do that, that to me, if me and you were brothers, I'd be like, Mom, all I did was broke a plate. This dude shit on the cabinet and did it, and I got 3 times the amount of. At a certain point, I just have to realize it's not fair. It's not going to be fair. How do I deal with it?
And I think that is exactly what they wanted you to feel like.
Well, no, okay, but they kind of ensured.
So here's what I think. I think there was a small faction they used to.
They were allowed
break
to.
through. The random people they definitely made their way into it.
Can we just agree that they were allowed?
Allowed, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
They didn't force shit.
And if you think about it, what was it that was going on? They were debating the electoral votes for Arizona, which, take a step back and be bipartisan, was a good thing for the right, Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So why would Trump supporters want to go in that and disturb that? They were making momentum for their cause.
So are you saying that why were they? Because I would think if you were leading that, you'd say, hey man, we probably shouldn't go because this ain't got nothing to do.
My buddy was like, let's go to SAC. I'm like, nah. No.
Because it has nothing to do with it.
Dude, nothing I'm going to be able to do to make it better, worse, doesn't matter. I'm going to be an come entertain.
So you're saying that this was a large scale Seattle?
I think it was a large scale.
From a participant standpoint. Meaning there's nothing, I know I'm about to tear up my own shit. And I know it might not. Because you saw the lady from San Francisco, right?
I think there's a lot of people pissed off.
Pissed off at what though?
Well,
that the election was rigged?
Yeah.
Okay, but now, if it was, why is it only... Now I feel like I'm going into being a basketball player mode. How come you can call foul whenever I foul you, but when you foul me, you are quiet? How come it can't be equal?
What specifically are you talking about?
I'm speaking like this. If I'm playing defense on you, and I foul you, and you say, oh, I missed the shot, I'm probably going to say, hey man, I fouled you. You can have the ball back. Now, same thing on the other end. You foul me.
So you're talking about Trump winning?
I'm basically saying if
no one said anything.
No,
now
Bush.
That he
I'm
lost,
not even gonna say Trump.
Okay.
Because I really believe that there was enough people that was like, man, fuck Obama, because that's how we are as humans. I want this.
Right.
No, I want that.
Yeah.
No, I want this. So I do think from Obama we got Trump, because from Bush we got Obama.
Sure.
We got an idiot speaker that we knew wasn't telling the truth. We'll take this dude
knows how to speak,
who's making history by being the first black. Good job on choosing your candidate on that one.
Okay.
Let me throw this in the back pocket.
Did you vote for Obama?
I did. Hold on. You know why?
No.
Because he was black.
That's racist.
It is. I wanted to make history. I'm being completely honest. I wanted to make history, so I voted for the black dude.
I was rooting for Obama, man. I remember looking up him in the inauguration or whatever it was in the Denver Stadium, him and his wife, and
yeah, he won that thing early.
And I'm just like, damn, man, we got a cool opportunity. I did not vote for him, but I was like rooting for him. I was like, damn, man.
We do.
You know, I shed a
but
little
he still
tear.
answers to who?
Not us.
No. But not his... Yeah, yes, you're right. Not the citizens.
Not us.
He has a higher boss.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think we can all agree that if you don't act right...
on our emotions.
Well, but if you don't act right as a president, you get JFK'd, right?
How do you make... Yeah. JFK got his head blown off in front of everyone.
Right.
Why? Research it yourself.
So I think as a president, you know, if you don't go along, you get JFK'd. So I'm not mad at Obama. I don't think he did any worse than any other president. I don't think a president, and I've put it in my little music or whatever, I don't think a president can actually do much. most president of a company
Then why be
ain't
so
about
scared
shit.
of Trump then?
Hold on. Well, because your president is fucking it up for your board. If this was a company, the board of directors can get your ass out of there if you're becoming a detriment to the company.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna keep focusing, because for me, I have to put this in business mode, because if I use my feelings, I know I'm screwed in that scenario. So I have to turn into an employee to see what it is I can get away with in these constraints of being an employee in this organization.
Right.
So I think the reason people were mad at Trump was because a little nostalgia. We're used to having slick talking presidents, Mad Max looking on the podium, and just we're used to that nostalgia. But we also have to remember we hired a reality star. So we got the Kung Flu out of that.
Yeah.
Like, he represents a good portion of, oh, that's the rule for you? I have money. That's not the rule for me. And people are upset about the black people I know, or the people of color that I know, are upset at people who vote for Trump. Meaning, and I'm not going to put you in this. You really think that he cares about you? He's already separated himself from you too. You are lower class to him. Like, if it came down to it, he'd be like, oh, that's the rule for you, that's not the rule for me. Now, if he liked you, yeah, let me work something out for you. But for the most part, people are upset that those people really think they're up there with him. He's my president. Yeah, he speaks for us. You're an idiot. Just like we know most rappers don't speak. The ones that are mainstream, that they don't speak for us. They speak for that small faction that is an underdog that everybody roots for.
Right.
But usually, the people who are talking good sense are like, yeah, he's good, but he's not as entertaining as this person.
Yeah, whenever I think about the presidents, I'm always like, well, of course not. But I always like, well, what kind of policies are they putting out there?
Or approving. Because you can lean one way or the other, but back to the favorite shit.
Just what are you putting out? What are you making law? What are you doing?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Foreign policy, domestic policy. What's your agenda all about? And I started to like Trump's once I noticed a decisive focus on child human trafficking.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
As soon as he did that, and I saw the just uptake in arrests.
Because you said it wasn't on one side or the other. It was anybody who fit the bill.
It was everybody was getting arrested. And
you even told me that some of his Republican people were like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
We expected you to do it against them,
well,
but not
if you
us.
look at the government history of child human trafficking and sex trafficking, the Dynacourt is definitely in the history, and we had that Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney. You can search up her Dynacourt, Cynthia McKinney, and she is talking about the basically abductions of children into the foster care unit, the system, and utilizing that to gain these kids, which, it's a huge rabbit hole what those kids were used for, but there is a history with government-run organizations having absolutely the most disgusting, despicable people inside of it. That is not for debate.
Yeah, I agree.
And so,
not for debate.
When I saw his focus in those first couple of years where it was kind of quiet, but I noticed that there was huge uptakes in arrests in that direction, in that sector of society, I jumped on board 100%. Because a lot of these kids were not killed. It's one thing, okay, you're a psycho murderer, you killed. To do that and that torture of these killed children and let them go and lived a terrible life, probably abusing drugs and alcohol, depressed, dying of a terrible death, right? That takes a fucking evil person, man. And there's a lot of those types of people in our society that is now being shed light on. And they're in the darkest and most open, wide sectors of our society.
Because it's different if you work at Burger King and you're like that, and it's different as opposed to working in a position where you have access to multiple things.
Yeah. And, there was a point where the United States had the Speaker of the House convicted on those types of charges. And he was a Republican. I forgot.
You know what makes me, and I'm going to say dumb things, again, episode 1. When people are like, I can't believe that, but they have a registered sex offender in their family. How can you not believe that that guy in that position is doing it? But you see it happening in your own. Like, I struggle with those kind of, and I'm learning not to really take too much inventory into what those people say, because you have to draw parallels in your life to see, okay, it's not just happening here. That exists on every level with different extremes.
And, yeah. And I'm sure that there's different levels.
Hold on. There's the $10,
Yeah.
and then there's the $10 million.
Yeah.
The island, the this, the that.
Or even interests.
As
Different
opposed
levels
to the,
of interest.
and I'm sorry,
more
y'all.
despicable, to like, yeah. No,
What they say, if you want to know somebody's true character, give them a lot of money and watch what they do with it.
Buy a house.
No, I'd make sure I had everybody else straight so I could not have to be as responsible. That's what I'm supposed
What's
to
a
do.
lot of money these days? Anyway.
We're not going to talk about that.
It's like $1 million, a lot of money right now.
You know what is a lot of money to me? Consistently getting paid to make sure that I can sustain routine for my family. So whether you want to give me $10 million at once or $10 million over time until the day that I die, I just need to make sure that I'm set up consistently. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. So you'd take the 26 annual payments? Yes, sir.
That way I could learn how to live with it, because my personality is, if I have it, I'm going to spend it.
Yeah.
So learn to put it in a place to where, I've gotten better over time, but
that's what probably growing up with not a lot of money, and when you do have money, it's like,
no, it's growing up being spoiled.
You're spoiled.
Yeah, I have an all-white brother. I have 3 all-black brothers, full black sister, and another half sister, whatever. But I'm saying that because there was a time when I was the mixed kid in the family. But I would see my all-white brother, which is not normal again when I talk about Norman High. I only went to really see the white side of my family. My white brother lived in Virginia with his white father. But then I would go see my brothers and sisters in Oklahoma City and other places like that. So I had a pretty unique... My mom has 1 sister with 1 kid. My dad has no brothers or sisters. So I have 1 cousin. Like, 1 cousin. Hearing everybody else, that's just crazy. So for me, I was spoiled. My mama, she had a white kid before me. I was her mixed kid. Oklahoma, 76 to 80.
I gotta make up for where I'm about to raise this kid.
My 9th grade, his name is Hoop Gibson. I love this dude. Everybody who went to Central High, Mid-High knows him.
Hoop?
Yeah, his name was Mr. Gibson, but they called him Hoop.
Hoot?
Yeah,
Hoot.
Like Hoot.
Hoot. Shout out to Hoot.
He looked at my mom and he was like, I love Stan Becky, but I just still can't see. And he said, it's the way I was raised. I just can't picture a white woman being with a black man. And I'm in 9th grade. What is that, 14? So it's 1990. And this is what the principal of the school is saying. Loved everybody. Treated the black kids almost better than he treated whites.
Scratch that, shout out to Hoot.
No. Who was cool. Like, we got in trouble in class and who was like, man, just come take your final in my office, man. Like, he was super cool, but... So, my mom had to make up for shit like that. So I was spoiled, man. That's why I wasn't good with money.
I met some dudes like that too, and they good people, great people,
but
the type of people you
trained.
want on your but trained. And we were talking about hunting. We were talking about geese and laying out blinds and decoys. And he was talking about you put all the specks together, you put all the snows together. And he's like,
there you go.
And then you think about it, and they're all mixed up there, and then they all come down to what they are. And he's like, just the way people should be,
Yeah,
he makes those type of statements. And I
Pick up on that.
I pick up on that, and it's like, ha ha ha, you know. But then it's like, fuck, that fucker believed that
Hold
shit.
on, and that is okay. Circling back,
Okay.
that is us.
Yeah.
You mentioned something probably 30 minutes ago where you were like, you just have to figure out who we are and make it character over everything else, interactions, reality. But the way that guy thinks
Mm-hmm.
is honestly the way a lot of people think.
Yeah.
To me it's a primitive safety thing. I have to do less thinking if I don't have to do a lot of deducting. If I'm always trying to figure out something, I can never relax. I realize there's a key moment in life where you can relax. Most times you're doing work to set up a small portion of time to relax. And then you might make it something like this where we're doing work while we're relaxing.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you. Do you think it's gonna be some death?
Inauguration?
Yeah.
No. I hope not. Jeez.
No?
I think it's going to be. I'm hoping there's going to be. I don't know. I don't think he won. I think there's enough evidence out there that some sort of
So
court
you're
case
still
should
hung up
happen.
on that he hadn't won.
Dude, you have a Dominion voting counting machine.
Are you a Raiders fan with the tuck rule?
No.
Because that's what it reminds me of.
No. What? No.
But you remember there was like, if we win.
Did you know Dominion voting is Chinese owned? Do you know we have a congressman who banged a Chinese spy?
Hold on, that's mathematical.
Do you know that we have a senator who had a Chinese spy as her driver for about a decade?
Okay, let me.
Did you? I could keep going.
No, okay, but let
So
me
what
tie
I'm
it
saying
back
is
to
that
America.
there's an infiltration into our
Hold on,
country
did you call
by
me,
China.
Did you call me China flu?
Kung Fu.
Kung flu? Oh, you call me Kung flu. Okay, so fuck your election. This is what you get for calling me that.
No.
Come on.
I think that COVID was used as something that was planned and utilized and politicized to gain more power. I think where you're coming from is that's never happened. Where I'm like, no, dude. Like they used this flu, which you have a Chinese scientist who was a whistleblower that got no traction.
Right.
No one gave her the time of day. I think Tucker Carlson did on Fox. One little segment, never talked about it again. Where she was saying, no, this is human made and it was spliced with this,
Right.
and that. I can break down that information, right? So I think it was man-made.
Right.
I think it was used and released on purpose at that time. And I don't think they really anticipated a vaccine or hydroxychloroquine to really be that effective against it, which saved a lot more lives than we did. And I think that he addressed it in a way that saved a bunch more lives. It was going to be used to total lockdown. Trump wasn't going to know what he was doing, and it was going to be a whole. They want to say that there was a GOP takeover or coup to the Capitol. There's been a coup over our government being representative from the people. Now that coup is representative to other countries.
Okay.
And there's a reason why we give so much money to other countries.
Because
We're trying to level the playing field. We want a worldwide communist, like everybody should be equal countrywide. There are no super.
But that can't happen.
But that eventually the new world order, and it has nothing. You can look back at speeches. This is not something that is just a conspiracy theory. You look at that word and the history of it, and the people who said it, they're all globalists, right? People that don't believe in national sovereignty, that believe that humans aren't capable of governing themselves. But what they are
Capable of.
is selecting who should govern them,
No,
which we
hold
will
on, say
provide
that
for
again.
you.
There's,
Humans are not capable of governing themselves.
but
What they are capable of doing is choosing who they want to represent them, and we'll make sure that we give you that selection.
that sounds like a board of directors and
That
a
is what we have.
supervisor and a this and a that in a company.
Tying back that, well, what is freedom? I don't know. I know that is not.
No, it's not freedom, but that's what we've signed up for.
You know,
Until
it's hard to
somebody
say
leaves.
you know something, but you know what you don't. You know
No, I know
it
what
is
I
now.
know. I know what I know
That's a
and
tree.
what's been presented.
You can't tell me that's not a tree. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Or at least that's what we were
I know
taught.
that's not freedom.
No. I don't think people want freedom. I think you want a certain type of mobility. But what if they can't? To me, if they cannot voice what freedom is, I think you're stuck on what you've been brainwashed with through images, books, and everything else.
So let's take a mandate that Newsom had, lockdown 10 o'clock. You can't go out there, or you are discouraged from
No,
doing
it was.
so.
I thought it was just businesses that were discouraged from having things open for people to be able to hang out after 10.
See, because you probably looked it up, want to know it, right? But the majority hear about it.
Oh,
I'm
no,
gonna get
definitely.
it, and that's the way they utilize it, right? They don't want everybody to. They can manage the little flare-ups of people that fight back, but when they want the
there's definitely more
majority of the
people.
masses to stay put, really respect that we know what we're talking about. But in the end, what it is that nanny. Like, I want to be taken care of. I don't know.
And I don't like your
it's
decision.
easier this way.
And I don't like your decision. I'm gonna throw a fit.
But I always think back of the people that died in wars to really fight for us to have those freedoms to choose to live the way we wanted to, how to pursue our happiness. And I really feel that there's still capabilities with the system that is in place. We need to change a ton of stuff, but there's still that opportunity to have this place, this level of freedom that we all can live in, where we can all be happy. What we need to continue to think about is how to address the people that have gone through misfortunes. Because then when you hear about these stories,
I don't think most people are worried about it.
a lot of emotion go into the decision making, and whenever you're emotional, you're never going to make a proper, what's best long-term decision, whatever it is, And I remember when I was younger, my dad got attacked, and some dude broke in, attacked my dad, bailed. I got a knife and was going to go kill him. My dad was fine. He wasn't going to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was ready to go put the rest of my life in jeopardy for something, he got knocked in the head, and it was but that's what you do, right, when you're emotional. So, when these big things happen, we want to switch up our entire system. We got to take a few days, weeks, months to really think about what happened more in the things that happened to those individuals, and then make decisions on where you want to go. And that's not the way that our American policy. When we have those big events in our society, look to changes of our society and look to really pause those decision makings. If you ever become, person of importance in these decision makings, take a few days, think about what happened, think about how to approach it. When you're emotional, you're going to make a terrible decision.
That's a coaching thing, right? Don't come to me until 24 hours after a game to talk to me about the game because you're in your emotions.
Well, they teach you as an educator, if you're not in the right headspace to address a child, his parent, whatever the case, then you don't.
Yeah.
A kid's trying to piss you off, you do not when you're triggered, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're triggered as humans, we want to do the right thing. Okay, yes. But when you're emotional, making that decision isn't always the right time to do so. Really think about it. Allow our brains to, be useful. However much you think that people are being dumbed down, our brains are still the most powerful, that they ever been in the history of humans.
Yeah.
So, but we are a very emotional state. We like to feel like we're doing what's best. And here's my thing. I don't know what's best for you.
No.
How dare I think that I know what's best for you to recommend?
Especially without talking to someone.
You're scared. You have Rona. This and that. So do what's best for you. I'm sure you can make the logical decision. I'm sure you know what's best for you and your family.
Yep.
If you're fearful, stay home. If you're not, by God, live your life.
But understand that you are going to run into people that are fearful, and that's where we would ask you
To be respectful, be polite.
or just shut up.
Yeah, or just yeah.
Just you don't gotta like it. Just
But
move
going
around.
back to the majority of my interactions, I do not wear a mask when I'm walking. I'm going for a walk. I'm at the park, walking.
Well, the rule is only if you're going to come in within 6 feet of someone. They do expect you to.
Yeah, and I don't. And that's because I'm not paying attention to you. I'm going somewhere else. I've never gotten sick by someone walking by. It's always been someone in class that sat next to you. You shared the pencils, whatever the case is. The breathing all over you. You know, that's the only time. And I haven't been sick in 2 years. You know, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I know myself. I'm fine. You know.
Don't put yourself in a lot of positions.
But if you're scared, do that. Probably shouldn't be going places. You know, but are we treated that way? I'm going to say no. So, you know, I think that we need a big change, but it's probably not in the big change of what people are hoping and thinking that society is going. I thought January 2020, the country was really well off.
Oh, you're talking about financially and
everything.
Yeah, financially, yes. But on the
January. Pre-COVID, you know.
No, there were still events happening though. They just weren't. Floyd kicked it off.
And that was sometime in March.
Yeah, Floyd.
Late March.
So Floyd is what made it national. There was still shit happening. I mean, it's America.
It's America. But here's
the problem they have with that is at all these, and let me just be blunt.
Sure.
At all these white people, how y'all keep killing us? And some people are gonna say, well,
out of the 60,
statistically speaking, and then okay, so here's where some black people are at a disadvantage. When I try to take up for everybody, you tell me to worry about my own. When I worry about my own, you bring up everybody. You really just want me to shut up.
Right.
And that's what's not gonna happen. Because the shit should not be happening to nobody.
No.
Because we both know if you have money, going back to that, oh, that's the rule for you? It's not the rule for me. If you have money, they're approaching you differently.
Mm-hmm.
If you have outrageous amounts of money and you are considered a drug dealer, but you're in a well-off family with political ties, they're going to probably call you and ask you to surrender yourself before they kick your door in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not fair.
So a double standard, but, you know, the thing that
in a capitalist society,
what you're mentioning is economic status.
Right.
What the media tries to glorify is the division of race, and having it been race related. Where I mean, like,
but it's easier to pick on.
Dude?
Hold on. It's easier to pick on someone who. What did that police officer say? It's easier to pick on some of the underrepresented.
Mm-hmm.
If economically they don't give a shit about you, it's easy for me to pick on you because they won't give a fuck.
And so that's the systematic racism, because that's just passed down through generations. It's easy pickings.
I mean, as fucked up as that it is to say, it's easy pickings to fuck with a certain amount of people because they fuck with themselves.
So here's my thing. Why can't we just be like, that's a fucking douchebag cop? Those guys also that are holding him out are douchebag cops. Is there a history of him being racist?
Hold on, let's go up the chain.
Like asking questions about this situation.
What is the chief doing about it? What is the district attorney doing about it? What is it this?
Yes.
Like it needs to go up because at a certain point, if we all agree that it's not right, but it keeps happening, that adds to the powder keg.
Yeah. No, I mean, but then, yeah, that one's a tough one because, you know, both sides have legitimate points in the fact that your point you just made, but also the fact that I'm like, I know a little bit about the cop and George's history.
Right.
They used to work together.
Right.
So there's some like a case here to go back and try to decipher, you know?
It is. It's
like
the humanity piece.
Maybe there was a beef, right? I feel like there was more to it. They took advantage of it and they played our little emotions.
But I think that cop, if you're filming me, I'm getting off.
Right.
Even if I'm inhumane.
I heard that was a false flag too, man.
What?
George Floyd.
He didn't die?
Not that he didn't die, but that it was staged, man. You know.
I just don't know too many people that's gonna stage their own death in that situation.
You know about sacrifices?
I do, but I don't think he sacrificed himself.
Okay.
I don't think he sacrificed himself.
Let me say this.
Or let me say this.
Pre-death,
Mm-hmm.
how much money was his family worth?
No, I
Post-death,
get that.
Now how much money? You know what I mean? Oh yeah. We should wrap this up. That would be a nice little cliffhanger.
You want to close the door, Mama?
That'll be a nice little cliffhanger. Get everybody to come back.
All right, so thank you guys. Thank you. First take, it'll get better. We'll get microphones.
How are you gonna fit this on YouTube?
What do you mean?
You can put just hours on YouTube.
Yeah. Once they found out they can monetize off of everybody, yeah, you can put anything on there. So look for this on YouTube. The inauguration is tomorrow. Next on deck. If you want, you can send us. We have other topics from different people, but
Send in your questions. We'll try to get them answered. We'll talk about it. Maybe you'll
I'm on Facebook.
invigorate the
I'm not giving you no emails
conversation.
because I'm tired of getting spam stuff. I'm not giving you no phone numbers because I'm tired of getting spam calls. You can find me on Instagram, Earl, or you can find me on Facebook, Earl. You can't find him at all.
You can't find me. Don't even try.
So whatever you want to do, however you want to give me the messages, let me know what we should talk about.
And all we're trying to do is, get you to think about things. We're just two random guys.
And I miss talking to people. I miss talking about people, and I miss talking about the shit that's going on in the world with people.
It's
So
important.
that's why I named it Next on Deck, because there's no telling what will be next on deck, but there will always be something next on deck.
Not a lot of baseball analogies, but on deck is a baseball analogy.
It is.
I mean, the analogies that you make.
Yeah, the batter circles.
Yeah. On deck, it's baseball. That's good. I didn't.
You
Basketball.
didn't, yeah, next on deck. That's the next topic on deck.
Very good.
All right.